Hey, what's your boy Zero? How my number one's doing today? As for me, well, I'm quite excited. As you may already tell, we're talking to DigiTrev, and I want to say welcome to Take Two. I actually made a previous version of this. I wasn't actually satisfied with it after rewatching it multiple times, so you can like, imagine having standards, eh? Anyways, in my last video, I featured someone named Trevor. I made the mistake of forgetting that DigiTrev is also named DigiTrev. So I apologize for any confusion. I know that even one of Digi's co-workers pointed out, oh, this is weird. Why did he mention you in this like this? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. So yeah, that is just some clarification on that. I apologize. So if I say Trevor, I mean like the previous Trevor in my last video, which you should watch. Or if I'm saying DigiTrev, I mean DigiTrevX. For the purposes of this video, just a few things to note. Don't go harassing people. Neither Digi or Melody should be harassed. No one should be harassed in general. And for the purpose of this video as well, anytime you see PM or I say PM, it refers to Projekt Melody as a whole. And a reminder again, don't go harassing people. No one needs it, okay? That's just want to do that. So any catch-up info for you guys, just so you can get a better idea of things in case you don't know what's going on and why I'm making this video in the first place. Projekt Melody, as you may know, is a virtual personality VTuber, if you want to call her. She started out as a cam girl back in, I want to say, was it 2020? Yeah. And she did it on Chatterbait. Then she moved on to other streaming stuff as well. The original modeler for her, or the model for her, is DigiTrevX. And there were some problems that happened with her and a DMCA strike back in 2021. So this is going to be more covering his side of the story. Let's get started. The first thing I want to show you guys is a DM I got from Digi, or DM, a comment I got from Digi from my last video. And it mainly just says, hey, thanks for your video that you did on Melody all those years back. I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. I really like that compliment. But that is, getting distracted from the point of this video. He clarifies a few things here, that the mistakes of contracts was mainly between him and Melody that he spoke of in his statement as well. So any discussions of other payment for other people he worked with were mainly on an individual basis. He does cover that later on as well. And that each person would be handling their own payment. The only input that really he had in payment would be when he said, hey, here's a starting suggestion of payment for these people. So he also confirms here that he was quite angry when he found out that people were being mistreated and mispaid. So yeah, I can understand that. The main thing that I want to point out is that something he clarified for me whenever he said that he had someone on the Projekt Melody team who was incompetent, and specifically Melody or her manager. Melody definitely has the skills to be on camera. However, what he meant when people with lack of experience, and I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, Digi, is he was referring to Melody's manager, in that they don't seem to have the right experience to be working in this field of entertainment or VTubing. So I do thank him for his response here, and he also offered the DMs, and obviously that's why we're here today. Is we're talking about the DMs I had with him, and we'll get that right started here for you guys. So we're gonna go with the first image here, and apologies for my lack of breath. I don't know, I'm not controlling my breath properly in speaking, so apologies on that. I'm doing my best to do better than the last video as well, so I'm getting a little pressure on my own self. We got to the first part of the DMs here after 2 years. Digi's finally in my DMs. Oh, no, it's not his fault at all. So I said, hey, thanks for offering to answer my questions. I do want to ask him for permission to use my video. As you can see here, he's totally fine with that, and he just wants to be careful with how he answers things, and that things are going to be public, as we see here, as we have the questions here. I do also want to say I appreciate you, Digi, for allowing me to cover this. I know I'm not the biggest channel out there, but I guess I was one of the people that was there from the start, and I'm glad that I'm able to give him a platform to defend himself as it is here. So we'll continue down here. I hope that I wasn't prying anything too much. and we can really continue on. I apologize also for confusing people. His coworker, he says here, was confused about that. So we'll move on to the next one here. I actually asked him a question about, why didn't you maybe draft anything for proper compensation? He did do commission work before. As you guys may or may not know, I do mention later on, like, hey, you did do work for these other VTubers, and there was one I mentioned in my video a few years back about that as well. So he says it's gonna be a bit of writing, and oh boy, it's a bit of writing. I can basically summarize it for you guys, but I'll scroll through it as well. And I forgot to mention, all these images here I've thrown into an Imager album. You can see it linked in the description below, so you guys can check it out for yourselves and just see all the context. But I'm gonna just scroll through them for my ease. I think that was a mistake I made in the last video. So anyway, let's get started with the explanation he gave here. Again, it's a long one, as you guys can tell. Let's zoom in on here. I'm going to scroll through it as I speak on my notes here. So he did say that there's going to be a bit of writing, and it was reiteration of a lot of his statement back in 2020. He reminded his work was mainly on the model, which, just like any of his work he said before, and by the client, once they're done with it, right, once he's done with it, sends it to the client, and the client does whatever they need to. However, it seems very interesting that their team didn't really know what to do with it, and you'll see in here that they actually had a college student working on the project that had to kind of pause on that. So because of that, he thought, I want to put my passion in this and see what I can do for you guys. In summary, I would go to scroll down to my thing here, but let's just continue with, so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. And we scroll down, blah, 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 and I don't want to say blah, blah, blah as in dismissing anything. I just want you guys so you can see. So I already know what I know, and just want to scroll down here. I went from a simple commission to basically project manager, as he's already said. And I said, yeah, I recall that some of your work was, Mira Akiri, Natsumi Moe, and Ruka, I believe. I said here one other Hololive member, I can't recall. But, well, not Hololive member, but someone who then became a Hololive member. And it seems like a part of yourself went into it too much as a detriment. And I do remember you writing these things and doing a lot of things without contract. And I know it sounds like an excuse of, oh, you just got really into it and then you forgot to get paid, which I did harp on him for that. However, being able to speak to Digi, I do realize, and I don't mean this in any ill manner, it feels like Digi could be the kind of person that could get a bit too carried away and forget things. I don't mean that in any mean way, and that's what I feel like what I got from speaking to Digi. And so there's a bit of confusion for me, because I know I said it was a self-congratulatory statement he made when he made that 2 years ago. So I said, hey, what was your goal about that? I don't know how much he acknowledges that, but I think so. But he just said, yeah, it does have. He does do things now on paper, which is great. And the first things he wanted to clear up was just mischaracterizations about himself. So when you scroll through here, he never intended to blackmail anything, blackmail anyone. And he mentions even recent events about Nux Talk, which is very interesting. He mainly wanted to talk to Melody about the unpaid work. That's mainly why he did DMCA. There's a lot of negative press out there about Digi, and anytime you search up Digi and Melody, usually you're met with that one article, I think it was Vice, was like, when does a VTuber not own her body? It's like, well, it was never about her body. It was already been paid for. She has correct rights to it, and I do apologize if I made that statement as well way back when. And it seems like a lot of things happened here. He even offered, like he said, a agreement that would be with waifu and just be on good terms with her and interact with her like a normal person. But as you may have seen in Digi's statement, she was gonna just kind of passively interact with her, or not interact with in the capacity that he would be satisfied with. We go on to then talk about, I do sympathize here with Digi, because I didn't know Nux was maybe mischaracterizing him. I don't watch any of Nux's videos. The only one I cared about really recently was the VShojo stuff. As you may have already know, I've done a little bit working around that. So it was kind of sad to see that he was being mischaracterized, and happy that, again, I'm able to do this. It looks like, yeah, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it looks like he actually tried to reach out to Nux to clarify things, but he never responded, which is kind of sad. And it seems kind of like Nux was using his fan base to attack Digi, which is, again, not something I would do. I wouldn't ever want to throw a mob at people. I mainly be saying, hey, here's the info, what do you want to do, but do not harass. That's mainly it, right? So I do say here, Projekt Melody seems to talk behind people's back. That seems like not surprising behavior coming from her at this point, or even people from this industry. When I say industry, I'll say it next here, so I know kind of her background, okay? And we go next here. He says, oh, what do you mean, like people in porn or just becoming popular? 2 points on that. I generally think a lot of people in porn are suspicious, and that's an opinion. Just want to clarify that, it's an opinion of mine. And I also think that people who become popular very quickly, it can mess with people's heads as well. Lastly, I asked him, hey, I only had the 2 questions of, why did you make the statement and why didn't you seek compensation, right? I left him the floor here so he could respond in whatever the manner of clarifications that he wanted to do. So yeah, he said, hey, there's something I do want to actually talk about, and it's about why he took so long to put out a statement. I'm like, oh yeah, let's hear it, right? And we do have the screenshots here. And mainly to summarize this, and I'll scroll through it again for you guys, don't worry. He explained why it took so long to create a statement. He was advised by his team in Waifu not to talk about it because of all the legal ramifications, and there's things that he wanted to figure out in the background and do it more quietly until Melody made her statement. So when he saw that, he's like, okay, I gotta prove myself right here. And I said, yeah, that seems about what you should be doing anyways, because I said it reminds me of a YouTuber situation that happened a few years back about sexual harassment, and I forgot the name completely until I looked at it. I'm like, Pro Jared. So Pro Jared, if you guys didn't know, was, I think, accused of harassing people, and he kept his head down for quite a while, and I respect that. If I was to be accused of something like that, I'd probably keep my head down as well. So let that be proof. If I do get into accusations of sorts, that's the reason why I'm going to be silent. Yeah, so also in the background, and he also wants to clarify, Giga was never to be part of it, okay? He already clarified it in his statement, but he wanted to make sure again that Giga was never going to be part of Projekt Melody. It's gonna be a whole different company altogether, because there's some, well, not but there is gonna be messy things if you're doing adult content. It's not easy to get funding, as I understand it. So one interesting note as well is he just notes that with Projekt Melody and her manager, it was weird if they even did a company. He wasn't sure how Melody's manager would fit in. Again, I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth in that case. So yeah, I do acknowledge all of that, and that's probably why VShojo exists, because she did say early on she wanted to make her own VTuber company, but I do wonder what kind of role her manager is in now. So yeah, that's some interesting stuff on her manager. And the last thing, this is just a reminder. This is basically a reminder. It's not really important for information, but do not go harassing people. Also, Digi's not here to cause more drama around this. He just wants to clarify his side, and I'm being able to actually speak. He's able to use me as a way to speak to the public. I may not, again, be the biggest channel, but I'm proud to be able to speak with him and able to spread his message. Because I've been there from the beginning, but I haven't really rode the train, which is fine. I'm happy that I was never involved with Melody in the first place. Now, that's the end of screenshots. I personally have found closure about this situation. I know maybe it's not satisfying to you guys, but I think those were the most important questions to have asked Digi. Now, while discussing with Digi, there's something that I remembered or was reminded of that was kind of weird. So Digi mentions here and in his statement as well that she has a manager from day one. I didn't think about this until he reminded me again. It's not new info, I know that, but it did remind me of something that happened, I forgot, for almost 2 years now. When Melody, in I think the first week, and I'm sorry, I have not found the clip, I've been too lazy to admit that, but there was a moment after her first, I think 2 or 3 streams, where she was responding to just people's theorizing of saying, oh, she has a manager or like a genius marketing team, how she's being so successful, or a manager. And she denies that. She says, oh, I don't have a manager. It's just me and Digi, basically. By Digi being the guy behind the tech. Which is a lie. If you guys can find that clip, I'm down to pin that comment. However you want to put it down. Obviously, be careful about linking stuff to adult sites. So if you can just give me a piece of the URL or even like a timestamp on that, or a date, that'd be even useful. I'll pin it for you guys so then we can see. Now, we also then briefly discussed her manager and her hiding her manager, because I think it's quite weird, because it's strange that she was. We agree, there's no shame in having a manager. I mean, if you look at VTubers or any big personality online, any big personality in general, they have a manager or an agent or whatever that helps them with their day-to-day. So it was strange to both of us that Melody was hiding her manager. I still find it weird today, but I can't particularly find any reason that I can really purport right now. So that is all. I have really seen both sides of this at this point. I have been biased for and against Melody. Right now, against, personally. I see that both parties are kind of to blame on this sort of thing. And I wonder what you guys think. But again, I definitely lean towards Digi and his team. And that's really all I've got today for you guys. I've out of all of my curiosity, thank you, Digi, for your time and answering my questions. I would appreciate if you guys share the video, not for myself, but for Digi, because I feel like it's really important that this info gets out there. Now, for a selfish request, if you guys would like and subscribe, that'd be great. I'm still working through some stuff about Kathy Cakes, and I'm hoping to get that soon. So I was wrong that that was gonna be my next video. So if you want to check out that, I'm talking about her and her art tracing, which can be really bad if proven guilty of, right? So I have made a video previously, but this next video is going to be about her defense on that as well. So sub to the channel for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.